Hello, I'm Teresa Picarillo, and me doing a presentation on gifted students. So, some characteristics of gifted students include um, they'll learn new material faster, they'll have a great memory, they'll be able to deal with complex concepts, and they're very passionate about one or more topics. So, those are just some characteristics to look out for in these students. And why is it so important to reach out to them? I feel like sometimes because they're gifted, you may think, oh, well, they're able to do it on their own. It's okay. But no, these students have needs and they need differentiated instruction. And as teachers, we need to work hard to meet all their needs because it's not just their high achievement that we're looking out for. So these students will have social emotional needs that we really need to pay attention to. So high ability students may experience difficulty constructing their identities, which may lead to lowered self-esteem. These students may be having trouble realizing who they are because they may not be able to identify with their peers. Um, and because of this, they may feel isolated because of how gifted students are perceived, portrayed by society and media. For example, they may be portrayed as physically weak, socially inadequate, unable to hold a conversation with their friend, or unattractive. I can't tell you how many movies there are where students who are very uh, intelligent, maybe gifted, that they're portrayed as a nerd, and in the movie they don't have friends, or they go home alone. And so it's a very negative way that our students are being viewed when their giftedness should be something positive. So, and because of these perceptions, uh, this is where bullying can come in because these aren't all kids are picking up on this, and as teachers, uh, we need we need to be alert to this bullying because we're the ones who can catch it, stop it, make sure that our students aren't being harmed in this way. And there's really a mixed message about giftedness. It's good because you're a high achiever, but then these students may be thinking, well, if this is good, why am I being viewed so negatively by my peers? And I think this is where issues socially come in. Okay, and more on social emotional needs. This is one quote: parents, teachers, and friends expect us to be perfect all of the time. And that's from Eight Great Gripes of Gifted Students. And this is where perfectionism comes in because their students maybe feel very pressured because they're just very high expectations uh, because they're being identified as gifted. Um, they may feel a lot of pressure from their peers or their parents, and they may be obsessed with getting straight A's, and when they do get that B, it's like the world stops because they're just held to that um, higher expectation. And they may not be able to just let things drop. They may be obsessed with finding the correct answer, and if there is no right answer or there's no one answer, this may just they may not be able to handle that. And as teachers, we need to be aware that these students that their social emotional needs are being met and not just their academic needs. So another thing that we need to look out for is asynchronous development, and it's very, very common that we see it in gifted students. So this is where the child's minds are developing at one rate while their bodies and emotions are developing at another. And you know, we have to remember that one size does not fit all. We're going to have a lot of gifted students, but they're not the same. Just because they're being identified as gifted does not mean that their skill level is the same. Um, And a great example of asynchronous development that actually is seen at this website here, if you want to see more about it, is that you might have a 7-year-old reading at a 6th grade level, performing math skills at a 5th grade level, but have fine motor skills of a 2nd grader. So it's not all at the same rate. It's all different. And just because they're advanced in one area doesn't mean that they'll be advanced everywhere else. So that's something that we need to keep in mind about our gifted students as well. Another thing is twice exceptional students. So these are students who are gifted and have an additional learning disability. And sometimes their giftedness may mask their disability. So for example, some students can be gifted and have ADD or anxiety disorders or depression. And it's important that we need to realize that this is a possibility and not purposefully miss something because of their giftedness and let that mask this, because these are important needs that we need to watch out for in order to adapt our lessons for these students. And some adaptations for gifted students is really to find out what your student is passionate about and find activities, projects that they can do. So for example, we can take an interest inventory with these students, find out what they like, and set up a project that our students can do on the side. So for example, say they're done with the assignment that the whole class needs to do, and they're done a lot earlier than the rest of the class, they can pull out this project and continue working on it until they are finished. And they go at their own pace, so there's no pressure. And really, it's engaging for them and something that they'll enjoy. And it's important that we do not just give extra work. So if the students are writing an essay, let's not just tell the gifted students, oh, hey, do an extra paragraph. No, that's not fun for them. We need to be sure that we're engaging these students and that we're not just giving them busy work. And another thing we can do is use a study contract for a student so that they know where they need to be and what they want to do. And this will also help relieve pressure from them. And one that I really liked was allow independent use of the school library, the classroom library. This way they're reading material that's more suited to their level and not just, the whole class. Because a lot of times they'll be reading at a higher level than the rest of the class. So letting them independently use the library would be good for them, and I like that idea. So in conclusion, it's important that we do not leave our gifted students alone just because they're high achievers. We think, oh, they'll be fine by themselves. No, they have needs and we need to work hard to meet them just as we would any other student. So this is the presentation on gifted students. Thank you so much for listening.